decided she's called Mabel. I don't know why, it just felt right. So this is my pear smart doll. In it is, she is called Mabel now, and she is sporting the hat and the bag that I've actually shown on the previous video, because what we're going to be doing is this little hat now. I've shown it in detail before, but just tip it over like that, because I mentioned there's a lot of granny square things going off this week. So I've based it round a granny square, although it has 5 sides, not 4 sides. I have done one very similar before on here, but this one's done in 4-ply and with a slightly smaller hook. I just thought it looked a little bit more delicate. It's 4-ply yarn. Don't forget I'm using UK terms as well. She's also holding this bag up, which I keep saying I'm going to actually look on my own channel whether I've done this bag. I'm sure I have. If I have, I'll do that before I do the next bit, because I've been saying for days, I must check. Because I forget what I've actually done myself. So if I've already done it, I will send a link. But basically, they're any granny squares. It's easy. I will talk you through it. I will show it to you as well. But then I'll pop the link if you're wanting to have a go at the bag, because basically you can use whatever yarn you want. I've done it in a 4-ply. Again, I wanted it a little bit finer. You can do it in a double knit, you can make it larger, you can make it smaller, you can do it in a really fine yarn for a smaller doll. So it doesn't really matter, the pattern does not change, you just change your hook size and your yarn size. So we're going to have a go at Mabel's hat, and we're going to have a little chat about Mabel's bag, and we're going to go top down and get some work done. So I hope you're going to join me. If you do enjoy the channel, please like, subscribe and share, and pop a comment below. I'd love to have a chat. She nearly got my glasses then, and I will see you in a second. So here we go with the pear granny not quite square hat, if that makes sense. I'll tell you in a minute. Right, basically here we have my Mabel in the hat, and if you've seen the video of her new clothes, you'll see what it is. I will take that off for in a minute so we can properly look at it. And this is the little bag I was talking about in the previous video. Now I do actually have the pattern for this, but I've got a feeling on my last one I did it in a double knit yarn. I'll put the link to the pattern, because essentially it's the same thing, just that this is in 4-ply, so it comes out a little bit finer and sort of a little bit smaller, whereas the other one was sort of quite a chunky bag, but it's the same sort of concept. So I'll just pop, you know, like a little link thing for you to click on at the end of the video, so you can actually have a go at that if you're wanting to. So I'll move that to one side, because that's not what we're doing. This is what we're doing. So I'm going to move our Mabel over as well. There we go. And this is the hat. Now this is what I meant by it's not quite a granny square, because you can see we have 5 sides, but it is still worked on the same system as a granny square. So it's a simple little hat. It looks really cute as a beret, or you can pull it on sort of lower down as a beanie, whatever you want to do with it really. Now this is the 4-ply I'm using. Now this I have noticed, because I've been making a few of these hats. This is actually quite a fine 4-ply, so have a play around with your yarn. You might find some of it is thicker than others, so sort of keep trying it on your doll, make sure it's okay. Now don't forget also I'm in UK terms, because that will make a difference to you if you're not used to our UK terminology. I have a little stitch marker. I went for a little vintage pussycat, because I've been doing like all vintage themes for Mabel over here. And for my hook, we have a 2.75mm crochet hook. I have pen and paper to one side, only because I just need to mark down occasionally, because obviously I'm talking, but I always have pen and paper with my crochet anyway, so we don't need this straight away. The only time we need that really is when we get to these points at the very end. The rest of it, you can see where you stop and start. If you're used to doing granny squares, you'll go, oh yeah, I get that. If you're not, have a go. Believe you me, it's all about granny squares this week anyway. On the 15th of August, it is Granny Square Day, which is something that Simply Crochet Magazine set up and everything. It's been going on for years now. Again, I've just done a video on that, because I've actually got some of my granny squares in there in the new supplement and things like that, so that was really cool. But let's have a go at making this hat for our smart doll or similar size. To be honest, I'm just thinking, I'm looking It wouldn't be my midi, that'd be too big for my midi, I think. But yeah, approximately that sort of head size you're looking at. I say Smartdoll. I know she's a 1/3 scale, but some of the smaller dolls also have large heads, so it could be either. So here we go. We're going to be starting with our slip knot. Boy, well, if I can get it moving onto the hook. And let's move the yarn over there, in fact, because it's going to sort of flow about a bit, isn't it? And from this point, we're going to do 6 chain. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. We're going to join this chain to make a loop. So into our first one, we're going to pull it through in a slip stitch and pull it through. Now from there, I'm going to do 3 chain. 1, 2, and 3. And before I go anywhere, I'm just going to tighten that up. But you can see you should have a little loop there, and it's that little loop we're going to be working in. Make sure you do work in the loop, otherwise the patterning sort of goes a little bit strange, so you do need to make sure you're in there. So it's a treble, UK treble, remember. So it's yarn round into the hole, pull it through. We should have 3 on the hook. We pull through 2, we pull through 2. That's our treble. That's our first treble, and this is our second treble. Now that 3 chain we did at the beginning is also going to count as a treble, so that's the equivalent to doing 3 trebles. Now I'm going to do 2 chain, 1 and 2, and then I'm going to do another 3 trebles into that loop. 1, 2, 3. So that is my second set. Just pulling some yarn out there. I'm going to do 2 chain again, and we're going to repeat that process. So we have 3 trebles. 1, 2, 3, 2 chain. We repeat it again. We have 1, 2, and 3. Just have a quick look at what we've got at the moment. We've got 1 set, 2 set, 3 set, 4 set. Now if you're doing a granny square, would be enough, but we need another set. So 2 chain and 3 trebles into that space. 1, 2, 3. Right, I know I'm a little bit controversial on this next bit, so a lot of people would do 2 chain now, slip stitch here, and then sort of slip stitch to get over to this point. I like my granny squares to come straight from this point, so I'm just going to literally go in with a double crochet. I know that sounds mad, but the double crochet brings it more central to that hole. I find if you do 2 chain and do it, as you carry on, you'll see that always in that corner it's a little bit wider than the rest, and so it sort of looks a little bit awkward. So we're going to do 3 chain. Now we need to go directly between. We've got 3 there, we've got 3 there. I know it's not a very obvious space, but it will work better this way. So yarn round into that space between. We have a treble and another treble. Okay, so remember, every time we do that 3 chain, it's going to count as a treble. So that's the equivalent as having our 3 trebles. 2 chain, but this time we're going to go back into that same one because we're wanting to create some corners. So we're doing 3 trebles also. So in that corner, you've got 3 trebles, 2 chain, 3 trebles. Okay, exactly like a granny square. Now we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 more to go, and you're going to do the same combination of 3 trebles, 2 chain, 3 trebles into each of those spaces. No chain in between, nothing at all. The only time you're chaining is between those sets of 3 trebles. So that's our 3 treble, 1, 2 chain, and 3 treble. Oh, we've got a bit of fluff. I've had some stuffing in the bag that it's in, so I think I've got bits of stuffing stuck on things. So we've got 1, 2, 3. So you can see how it's forming. Let's pull a little bit more yarn out. The ball's rolling around a bit, and then into our next one where we're going to have 3 treble. 1, 2, 3, 2 chain, and 3 treble. 1, 2, and 3. So you can see how it's forming now. We've got 2 more to do. So jump straight into the next one, and we have 3 trebles, 2 chain, and 3 trebles. And the yarn's pulling now, so I'm going to have to move it a bit. Come on, let's just pull a bit of it out, and then it's not going to pull so much, is it? So we did 1 of the 3 there. This is number 2 of that 3 and number 3. So we've got 1 more set to do. And into here, we're going to have 3 trebles, exactly the same. 1, 2, and 3 trebles. Now I am using a smaller hook than I normally do for the tutorials. It just makes it a little bit finer. You could get away with a slightly larger one. This is a 2.75. You could get away with a 3 if you feel a bit uncomfortable. I have a tendency to bend these. That's the only problem, because I sort of like hold the hook a little bit too tight. But have a play around with it. If your tension was particularly tight, for example, going to 3 might be a good idea. But I just thought it worked nicely with this yarn. So I'm going to do a double crochet join. Now we can see where we're going. We're going to go in this space directly below. Let me turn that over so we can sort of see where we are. So we're going to do another, what I would call a granny round, which means now, because we've got 5 corners, every time we get to a corner, we have to do that combination of 3 trebles, 2 chain, 3 trebles. But when we get to these side ones, as you can see that are in between the corners, we're only going to do 3 trebles. So we start with our 3 chain, 1, 2, and 3. Counts as our first, into the space directly below, 2 more trebles. So that's what I call a side one. The next one is a corner one. So like we did last, it's exactly the same as last round for the corners. It's 3 trebles, 2 chain, and 3 trebles. So 1, 2 chain, and 3 trebles. 1, 2, and 3. The next one is only a side. You can see how it's sort of the flat side, so it's in here. We're only going to do 3 chain, and you notice I didn't do any chains in between because I'm not doing, there is no chains, as I mentioned, except for those corners. Okay, now we have a corner. So our corner is 3 trebles. That's 1, 2, 3. I'm trying to make sure I stay in the center of the camera here. 2 chain and 3 trebles. 1, 2, 3. Side, just 3 trebles. 1, 2, and 3. Next one's a corner, so you know what to do. It's 3, 2, and 3. Nearly dropped that. Back in we go. So 3 trebles. We have 1, 2, and 3. 2 chain and 3 trebles. It's quite a quick one to do this. You know, not a lot of sewing in. There's only 2 ends to sew in as well, so that's always good. It would look quite nice. You could actually change each round. You could change your colour. That would look quite cool. Or just use a variegated yarn, which is one I have done as well. And that's quite nice because obviously the colours change. And then if you do the matching bag to go with it, I think the variegated looks really cool. What am I doing here? Right, I'm just dropping the stitches, aren't I? That's what I'm doing. Right, so that was 1 into there, 2 into there, and 3 into there, because that was the side. We've got a corner next. 1. Take that one out because I nearly did a different stitch. So that's 2, 3, 2 chain, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. Go to the side, and then we've got our very last corner for this round. And our last corner. 1, 2. Now, can you see that? Can you see the little bit of a loop of yarn there? I don't like that because I don't want that to be sticking out. So I'm going to undo the stitch. It's crochet. It's only a couple of stitches. It's not like it'll run or you've got to go X amount of rows down. Just take it out and do it again. Never be frightened if things go wrong. Just undo it. Start again. It doesn't matter if it goes wrong. I do things that go wrong all the time. especially when I'm designing something a little bit bigger than this. I can make so many different variants, it's unreal. Right, so I'm going to do my double crochet join. You can just join however you prefer. This is just my personal preference. Right, so we now have easy to count the rounds. So you've got 1, 2 and 3 rounds. I'm just going to tighten that center point up, and I'm going to look at my pen and paper to make sure I've done that right. So we've got that one. Right, so we need 2 more rounds of this particular. I'm just looking, did I put 2 or 3 there? Can't even read my own writing. I think that's a 3. It is a 3 because the first round is what I just call my starter round. The second round is where we start the pattern, and now I'm starting with 3 rounds. So in total we'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So again, if we look at this, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the stitches change. So we need a total of 5 rounds. Okay, I'll get a bit more yarn out there. So that was round 1, but I ought to mark it down. It would help. So this is round 2, so we need 3 chain. I wish I could remember what yarn this is as well, because it's ever so nice. I've got it in this and like a burnt orange, and I would really like some more, but I don't know what I've bought. It's terrible. I go all over the places where I find wool shops, and I'll pick things up, or I'll go online and get stuff. The ball band comes off, and then I've just lost what the actual product is, which is a shame, because it is a nice yarn. It is slightly finer. So just a case of if you've got yarn or you're buying yarn, just look at them, hold them next to each other, see what you think, because it might say 4-ply, but it doesn't mean it's a particularly fine one, or it could be too fine. They vary, so you do have to be careful a little bit. Thankfully, yarn does stretch a little bit when you've made something, so sometimes you get away with it if it's a little bit tight. Where are we? That was. Now we've got 2 sides, by the way. That was a corner. Again, if you're used to granny squares, you'll know that. That's a side. We have another side. Again, no chains in between. Just straight into the stitch with the trebles. We have a corner. The corners again are exactly the same. 3, 2 and 3. I have a tendency to remember things like that because I know the stitches aren't going to change at this point. So if I was doing something or working something out in my head, I'd look at my pattern and I go, oh yes, it's 3 trebles, 2 chain, 3 trebles. So I just go 3, 2, 3 as I go round. So every time I get to a corner, I know that's what it's going to be. My throat is sounding a bit croaky. Excuse me, a little cough there. I don't know why. I think it's just a little bit of hay fever. I don't get it bad, but I just get a little bit of irritation sometimes. So 3, 1, 2, 3 for our first one on the side. The second one on the side again is 3. 1, 2, 3. We have a corner next. It's just flat at this point. There's no shaping at all. We need to get past this third round that I'm doing of this bit, and then you'll see how the shaping comes. So if you just want to remember that you've got 5 in total, and then we'll change the pattern. I don't think I've got this one on the website, even the chunkier version that I did, so I might have to get the pattern up as well. If I get it sorted, I will put a link there for you. Dear me, it's going to be very, I could do with getting myself a drink. I might have to pause after a little while and grab myself a drink. Here we go. So we're on a side. One, 2. Be careful we don't split it. That was split, so I'm taking it out. 2, 3, 2 chain and 3 trebles. We have our last set of sides, so you can see there's the 2 spaces that we need to go into, and we need just 3 trebles in each. 1, 2 and 3, and we got one more corner to go, and then we've got one more round as well of this. And I'm going to join with a double crochet. And I'll just have a quick look at what we've got. Again, if you lose track of your thing, you just go 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, need one more set. So 3 chain, 1, 2 and 3, and 2 trebles into that base, because that was a side. So now we have 3 on our sides and then still our 5 corners. Now, if you are a beginner and you're thinking, oh, I can't keep up with that, it's too quick, anything like that, you can slow it down in the setting, or sometimes the best thing to do is watch what I've done on that part, just pause it, you do your little bit, catch up to it, because it's really hard to know, because some people will go faster than me, some people go slower than me, but thankfully, because it's YouTube, you can alter the settings. My voice sounds a bit silly, but you don't really need to see hear my voice on some of it, so you can just sort of slow the settings down. Right, so that's a side, so we've got 2 sides now, and this is side with our number 3. We now have a corner, so you know what to do. 3, 2, 3. We do change the stitch. They are not all trebles. They're trebles at this point. When we get further down, there will be a half treble, which is easy peasy, and also double crochets. Again, though, when I say double crochet, don't forget it is a UK term, because I know it has caused complications in the past. Or people telling me that's not that's a single crochet. It is if you're in the US, not here if you're here in the UK. I don't know why they can't all be universal. They just have to confuse us, don't they? So it's a third one on a side again. And we have a corner. 1, 2, 3, 2 chain, and 3 trebles, all in one space. Shana's jumped around every point in the table, I think, on that side. I'm imagining it's going to get wrapped around the doll next, which for some reason it does seem to do that. Whatever doll I've got on the table ends up tangled in yarn. Right, to side one again. I need to move over a little bit. I'm just having a quick nosy where I am in positioning, because I crochet very different when I'm at my desk than I do when I'm sat down, because I've actually got my elbows on the table at the moment, which obviously when I'm crocheting generally I don't do that. Corner. So we need a 3, 1, 2 and 3, 2 chain, 1, oh careful, that's 1, 2 and 3. At least trebles are easy to count as well. Right, I've got some sides to do. So 1, 2, I think I've got a little bit of a split there. Take it out, take it out. I will always show you warts and all, so if I go wrong I will take it out and I will show you why I'm taking it out. I took that out because the yarn had split, basically. Some yarns will just split no matter what you do, so you just have to be careful, and as I said, at least with crochet we can take it out easy enough. So that's a 3. There we go. See, we're back on track. It took half a second to just undo it and get straight back on track. 2. I think it's not bad, this yarn. I mean, I love the yarn. I think it's really nice and really delicate, but it does have a tendency to split. I don't know whether you can see on camera. Can you see like these little tiny hairs? It's just the wool content in it, which again I love, but it can catch. That's the only thing sometimes. So around the corner. When we get around on this, we're getting ready to change the pattern up a little bit. Nothing too complicated, so don't worry if you are a beginner. You know, I actually think those bits of fluff aren't from the stuffing. I think they're from the wool. 2 and 3, because I'm on a side one. Oh, we're not. I think it's every time I get on the side. Why do I keep doing that? Side. It feels like it might be a little bit big at this point. Don't worry about that. Oh, I'm going to have to cough. I'm going to have to bear with me. I'm going to have to just pause the video a second. Right, I'm back. Hopefully that just sort of clear my throat a little bit. Hopefully it will be okay. Right, where were we? We were on a side, weren't we? Let's carry on. There's not actually any pause for you guys. You'll just see that there's like a slight sort of, I don't know, glitch in the filming. Sometimes I put like a little transition thing to show you that that's what I've done. So it's been like an deliberate or obvious change. So 1, 2. 1, 2, and 3. Right, we're back round again, so I'm going to do my double crochet join, and I'm going to stop a second. So that is essentially the size of the top of the hat. So we've done all this. So if I counted, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, as I said. And now we're going to change. The stitch isn't going to change. We're still going to do sets of 3 trebles, but we're having no corners. We're getting rid of those corners to start curving it round to give shape to the hat. So again, 3 chain, starts the same, 1, 2, 3, counts as our first treble, and in we go with 3 trebles. And we're just going to do that in every single one. You're going to be so tempted though when you get to a corner to do the sets, because I've done that a couple of times and had to undo it because I just got into such a routine of doing it, but it's not. We want it to curve around. It'll feel a little bit weird. Well, you'll see what it looks like in a second when I get to that corner. But otherwise, we're just doing 3 trebles into every single space. So I've got 1, 2, and 3. So this is the corner. So all we're going to do is 3 trebles. It'll feel like it's making a massive jump, but that's okay. That's what it's meant to do. So that is our 3 trebles. But then we've got to jump to this next side, and that feels a bit weird when you've been used to doing it as a granny shape. So we go 1, 2, 3. Next side. And basically by doing just the 1 in each corner, you're sort of getting rid of 3 stitches on every single corner, and that is what is pulling it round. Doesn't want to stay on, does it? This behave. There we go. So side, 1, 2, 3. Oh, the wool's on the floor now, so hopefully it won't drag. Thankfully I have hoovered the floor. So here we go. So I've got 1, 2, 3. We have a corner, so remember it's just 1 set of 3. 1, 2, 3. Jump to the next side one. 1, 2, and 3. Obviously it's going to feel like you're going a little bit quicker as well. I love it. Well, I don't love it when you've got thousands of stitches to do. It can be exhausting. But when you've got a lot of stitches to do, sometimes, if you've got to then start decreasing, it's a great feeling. Less stitches. Makes you feel like you're going a little bit faster, or you're getting your work done a little bit quicker. 1, 2, and 3 we hit a corner, and we're just 3, or 1, 2 and 3, and jump to the next corner. It's just doing a gentle curve really at the moment. 2 and 3, next space, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and not 3, and now it's 3. So look where we are. We've only got a couple more corners to do. So can you see how it's curving? That's good. So don't panic if you think, oh, it's not sitting flat. It's not meant to, because we do need to start curving it into a hat shape to actually go on the doll's head. Corner, just one set of 3, 1, 2 and 3, back to a side. I think this is the last side, isn't it? Yes, it is for this. Is it? Yes, it is for this round. It's the last side. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Sometimes I think I just sort of sit counting 1, 2, 3 in my sleep as well. I've been doing a lot of these. My silly voice is going again. Do apologise for that. 2 and 3, 1, 2, 3, and we have our last corner here. 1, 2 and 3, and I'm going to do my double crochet join. You can do a slip stitch if you want, as I say, it's entirely up to you. So you can see it's starting to curl. This is the inside, this is the outside. Wherever the little tail of your yarn is the outside of your work. Now we're going to still keep similar vein because there is no corners now. It is just literally 3 trebles into each space. So you're already now down, well, 5, 10, 15, 20 stitches actually. So it's a bit quicker. So 1, 2, 3 counts as our first treble, and space directly below for 2 more trebles. So off we go. I've never actually counted how many there are as in spaces, but we don't need to do that. But if you're wanting to write the pattern down, for example, that might be quite a good idea. 1, 2 and 3, 1, 2 and 3. So I'm just going to keep going. So this yarn's a little bit annoying now it's on the floor. I don't want to pause again though. 2, 3. Again, it feels like a big jump that, but it's not, it's right. 1, because it was where the corner would have been, so that's why it feels a bit weird. 3, 1. I mean, to be honest, we're well over halfway making the hat. And the more you get used to it, obviously, if you made one, then you probably don't really have to listen to me to do the second one, or you've written it down on a bit of paper or something. You will move faster. And it's only obviously because I'm having to break it up into sections while I'm talking. Again, that's where it would have been a corner, so it feels a bit weird. I think I'm gonna have to grab this yarn. It's not playing, it's dragging on my hands, so bear with me a second. I'll not pause it, I'll just grab it off the floor. Here we are, we've got our yarn back now.
Hopefully it'll stay there. I'll just angle the doll a bit so it won't fall off the table quite as easy. So where were we? 3 3 3s, aren't we? Everything's 3s at this point, but don't get used to that. It's going to change on the next round. So 3, 1, 2 and 3. So we're just going to keep going until we get back to that 3 chain for our double crochet join, which we must be about halfway now. So I got distracted picking the yarn up where I actually was. Oh, in you go. I caught you. 1, 2, 3. Next one. 1, 2 and 3. Next one. It's properly curving round now. You can sort of feel it as it's doing it. Well, you probably can see it as well, but obviously in my fingers I know that's what it's doing. Oh, did I jump too far then? No, I didn't. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Let me check where we are. We've only got down this one section to go before it starts to change. The wool was trying to get off the table again. It's also because it's starting to come towards the end of the ball, and it always jumps about like mad when it's like that. So we're on our last run for these, which are our 3s. And then we will be changing what we're doing, because we need to pull it in again yet, because obviously this is not sort of going to fit the doll's head. It's just going to sort of sit like a pancake if we just put it on this sort of size. So we do need to bring our sizing down a little bit more. It will actually be quite a lot more. You'll be surprised what difference the next round is going to make. So what we got? We got 2 more sets, and then quick pause, and we'll have a look at what we're going to do. It's nothing drastic, don't panic. It's not like a massive change in pattern. It's just changing amounts rather than anything else. So we're going to join 1 and join, and let's have a look. So at the moment, can you see how that is curving round? But just to make it a bit easy for yourself, just push the points out. Okay, so you do get, it's a bit like a starfish really. The starfish I'm sure has more points than that, does it? I don't know. I suppose there's lots of different ones. So it looks like we've got like 5 points really, but I want that side sort of pointing out because it's just a bit easier. We're going to start with our 3 chain again, but this time we're just going to have 2 trebles in every single space. So you can imagine how many that is reducing on each side. So it's just 2 trebles. That feel weird because you're going to want to count 1 2 3. I know, done it myself, but it's not. It is just 2. So we're going to be moving a little bit faster because of that. I haven't actually timed how long it takes me to make one. I'll be curious to see what the video says at the end. But you take your time. You've got to enjoy doing it. So can you already see it's pulling it round even further? We're getting like a proper curve now. And that's only just doing one side of them. So it feels like it's a big jump as well when it's 2. That's the only thing. So keep your work tight, because I'll show you why. Because it's so easy to sort of allow that and then jump, and then this bit's going to be loose. So make sure you keep it not silly tight, but relatively tight on that hook. You need to be able to move it. Don't make it so it's so stiff it's sort of hurting your arm doing it. But you do need to sort of keep a little bit of tension going there. we go, just 2, still remember it's just 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, just tell your 2 self 2, 2. So sing yourself a little song in your head to remind you not to go on to the 3s. Like I say, you will, because I know I did. So just 2s and 2s, and we're proper pulling round now. Look at that, it's really getting there. Pull a bit more yarn out there. Didn't want to go in that one. I just think it's a nice simple little hat. Like I said, especially if you're a beginner, it's just such an easy way of making a Smartdoll hat, or any doll really. I mean, you can make it any size you want. You just would need more. You know, we said we did the 5 rounds. If you're going to make it for a bigger doll, you just need more of those rounds before you start shaping it. So you might want to sort of play around with sort of how many rounds you would need. Or, like I've made these for Cindy, you would have less rounds. I mean, you could make this a broader sort of beret if you wanted to, and you could add in 6 rounds. Oh, look, we're round. That feels like a massive jump there, but you do need to do it. So in we go. Pull it tight first before we fasten it off. Well, we're not fastening off, before we bring it together. So we can see we have now got a proper little hat shape coming on. So we need one more round of just 2 in each. So 3 chain, 1, 2 and 3. 2 chain, no, 2 chain, one about 2 equivalent to 2 trebles in there, because the 3 chain counts as 1, don't forget. Now I know some of you have whizzed forward on this one, so I'm not quite sure whether I'm talking to myself or if is anybody there. And so when you get what you're doing with it, you'll not need to watch it at all. You'll be able to just sit and relax, maybe watch TV or something like that while you're doing it, and you'll be able to sort of whiz them out. 1, 2. Oh, 1, 2. Okay, still 2 in each. 1, 2. This is giving a little bit of length to the hat now by doing this bit, because we're not far off doing the brim. Well, not really a brim, is it, when it's on a beret or this sort of beanie type hat? It's the edge anyway. We're about halfway round. Can't tell when it's curling in, because you can't see where you started until you actually get to it and you're, oh, I'm round. Now, I know I've mentioned the bag that I've done with this, because I've done it in the 4-ply, but as I said, the pattern I'm going to put the link to, I got a feeling was a double knit one. But it's the same system of putting it together, same system of doing the stitches. It is just purely, this is in a finer yarn that I did, so your bag comes out a little bit smaller. So it depends what size bag your Smartdoll wants, really. If you're wanting a sort of like a big sort of carry bag, do it in a double knit. If you're wanting it slightly finer like this, let's say this is just a 4-ply yarn. That's the only difference. With this, I've also actually teamed it up with a scarf, just a basic one. So I've done it like a little set. So we've got hat, scarf and bag. And we are round, I think. Is it 1 more, 2 more? 1 more after this one. And we're round, and we're going to get ready to change stitches again, and it is a change of stitch this time. So we're going to just double crochet, join, pull that tighter before you do join it, otherwise we end up with a big gap. There we go. So can you see what we've got thus far? Now the next one, we're going to move on to our half trebles, and that is going to be in every single stitch. Now again, I play this slightly different. On my pattern, I will write 1 half treble in each double crochet because there's 2 in each one, but I like a little bit of definition. So I'm going to start with 2 chain this time because it is a half treble. That's going to count as my first stitch. So what I am going to do next is I'm going to jump into this one here, and I'm going to do a half treble. Now remember, it starts like a treble, but then you pull it through all 3, so it's a shorter stitch. But then my next one, now the stitch is, I hope you can see this, the stitch is there, so you can go in each stitch, but I like to go in the space. So I do 1 space, 1 stitch, 1 space, 1 stitch, because I just feel it creates, I don't really be able to see it properly on this, it just creates a little bit more of a definition around that edge. Doesn't matter, you can do it whichever way you want, but essentially the pattern will say 1 half treble in each stitch. So my next one, I'm actually going to go in that space, then I'm going to go in the stitch, and then I'm going to go in the space. But you can go in the stitch if you want, whichever works for you. There's just different ways of doing it. Sometimes I feel I need to create that definition, sometimes I don't. It just depends on what patterning I'm doing. So we're just doing 1 half treble into each stitch of whichever combination you want to do. It's also easy to go in the space. But you can only do the alternate space. It's the space that's between the 2 sets of trebles. So I don't go adding in extra spaces, otherwise your hat's going to get wider rather than smaller. And at this point, we need it to sort of start pulling in properly to sit on the size of the doll's head. Where's that one gone? There we go. Got to be about halfway, haven't we? I think so. Harder to see now because that was only 2, but yes, we're about halfway, aren't we? I just thought, now I've made this one, where am I going there? There we go. I'm going to have to do another pack and scarf because I've already done my green set for that, but now I've made another green hat. Because this green hat that's here is the one I will keep for Mabel. But the others, as I say, I'm making up some sets because I'm going to be going to London Film and Comic Con, where Mr. Danny Choo has allowed some of us to have some space to sell some of our things. So I'm really excited about that. So I've got to think about putting some sets together and changing some new designs and things like that. So some of the designs you will not see until after I've done the convention. It's not till much later in the year. Well, saying that much later, we're already in August, aren't we? So I've got quite a lot of work to do. So there's going to be a few creators there as well. So I'm excited to meet some of the others as well. So that should be quite cool. I mean, we haven't got the final details yet either. So don't go booking any tickets or anything until we've all got the details of what we're doing. Are we round? Where's my round? I'm too busy talking, aren't I? No, I'm not round at all. As I say, it's very hard to see because it drops in size, the stitch. I'm just going to put it down a minute because I can't actually see where I am. Where did I start? These are all single, single, da, 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 da. I am round, it's there. I knew I was round, imagining things because I'm too busy talking. And slip stitch. I said slip stitch into a double crochet, that's what I want. Double crochet into, make sure you get a proper stitch there, because with it only being 2 chain it's hard to get in. So we are now to this shape. We're now going to change stitches again. Now it's hard to imagine how, can you see how we get a ridge there, how that's going to now pull in, but just by changing our stitches, the length of our stitches will tighten a piece of work up now. So now we're going to be working in this area, and I've got 4 rounds. If you wanted to do more, you can just keep trying it on your doll. You could do less, just see how it feels, but it does sort of tighten up and you sort of get this sort of shape when you've done the double crochet rounds. So we're going to set off with the double crochet rounds, but this is where I want a stitch marker, because we're going to do it in an amigurumi style and it's going to be continual. We're not going to stop start, although as you saw with that last round, it's hard to see where you stop start with the half treble, let alone a double crochet. I nearly went American then, I nearly said single crochet. I actually learnt crochet in an with American system. I don't know why or how, but yeah, I had to then actually adjust to the UK one. I don't even know how I managed to pick it up. Right, double crochet every single stitch. You know how to do it. It's just a very basic stitch, this one, but probably one of our most important stitches where crochet is concerned. To be honest, there's not that many stitches to crochet. It's just the combinations, isn't it? I'll drop that one. There we go. So off we go, round and round. Just 1 double crochet into each of those half trebles. I'm actually going into the stitch this time because you've got to. It was only on that last round that I could sneak into spaces. Oh, the stitch marker is going to be annoying now because it's already clanking on table. It's very cute, but you will hear it clanking. When I get past a certain point, I know actually that's one way of knowing when you're past halfway, because the stitch marker stops clanking on the table, because it'll have moved round. There we go. Oh, not. It tricked me. Right, we must be over halfway now because the stitch marker's not making an annoying noise. There is absolutely nothing more to this. In fact, I'm just thinking, I was talking about colours. What might be quite nice, if you were going to change colour, this would be quite a cute point to do it. So you could have one colour and then this sort of like edge would be another colour. That'd be quite nice actually. That might be an idea. I might have a go at that. And we're round. That was quick, wasn't it? So that is round 1. So we're going for ding ding round 2. Yeah, going from a treble to a double crochet sometimes is a really good way of shaping something. Even though you've got the same amount of stitches, it will pull in, it will change you. So say if you did 10 rows, just as an experiment, not even 10, say 5 rows of trebles, and then you did 4 rows of double crochet, for example, and then back to 5 rows of, or rounds, whatever you're doing, of trebles, you will see that that has pulled in the center, but it's exactly the same stitches. I have used that where, you know, for shaping for the Smartdoll, if I was making a dress or something, because of over the bust you need the stretch, you need sort of it to be able to be more maneuverable. I would go for a half treble actually, because it's less see-through. And then if I wanted to sort of pull it in a little bit towards the waist, I'd then just jump to a double crochet. So you can just manipulate sometimes just by changing the length of your stitch. Sometimes you do need to decrease or increase, of course, but it just gives a little bit more flexibility. Well, the stitch marker's not making a noise, so we must be almost round. Well, we're over halfway, put it that way. See, that was my stitch marker's dropped out in my hand. I can just feel it in my fingers. It's coming up next. It's a metal one. I can feel that it's cold on my hands. Right, so this is almost done for round 2. And we're getting ready to set off for our round 3. Now, if you don't want to sort of stay with me to do these last 2 rounds, because you're sort of, well, you're happy with what you're doing, so you can just get on with it. All you need to do when you get to the end, round 3 was started, all you need to do is just fasten off. And you've got 2 sets of ends to sew in. Make sure you sew the end in the center point well, because it can come undone with it being a granny square, because I've seen people do work blankets and things, and then it starts coming undone from the center, which is absolutely mortifying. If anything, perhaps, I mean, I don't tie it off because I'm inclined to sort of really go sort of in and out, in and out, in and out. Sometimes maybe even if it was a blanket, maybe even tie it off and then thread it through to make sure it's not going anywhere. Because you probably can repair it. I can't say as I've ever tried, but it would be one terrible job to have to do. So just check where I am, because I can feel myself veering off to one side. I've actually got a new stand for my camera now. My other one snapped, so the other day it was a right palaver. I literally had to tape it up with masking tape and then tape it to the shelf that it hangs off and everything else. It was ridiculous, really. But we got another one through from Amazon Prime. It's only one of those bendy ones. It's nothing exciting. It's just that it clips onto either my desk or the shelf, and then you can just sort of bend it into whatever position you want. They are quite good. I think probably I've been a bit rough with it. Or maybe I need to get another one, and then I can leave this one where it is. And it's always sort of overhead, and then get another one for my desk. Nearly there. Only got one more round. To those of you who have stayed with me, so hello. Nearly there, I promise. So we've got pussycat stitch marker again. And we've got another round to go. Can you see how it's pulled in nicely now? So this is the last round. And then we can try it on our Mabel and make sure I've done it right. Now, I've done quite a few of these, so I'm pretty sure. I think, like I said, with the different thicknesses of yarn, I think this is probably about the thinnest end of a 4-ply you can get. So it's not going to make it, well, no, it doesn't make a huge difference because I've made a couple. In fact, when I get around on this, I think my work basket's up here. I carry it up and downstairs. So if I'm doing any work downstairs, it comes down with me. I think there is one in there that I did with another double knit, another 4-ply, and it came out a bit bigger. So I can't make up my mind what to do with it at the moment. But I can show you the difference, and let's say they're both 4-ply yarns. Over halfway now, and we're on the home straight. I can feel the stitch marker in my fingers. There we are. little pussycats peeping up there. And our last few stitches. 1, 2, 3, and then I'm going to do a slip stitch because I like to finish my work there because I feel it doesn't give you a step. That's the reason I finish with a slip stitch. And I'm going to scissors with me. That's as a surprise. Thankfully the yarn snaps easy enough, and we'll pull it through. That's it. The hat is actually done. We will bring our Marvel, who is our, I keep getting her name wrong, you know, I've chosen a name and I keep getting it wrong, Mabel. I've also spelt it different. I've spelt it even. I've spelt it like the Maybelline product. So let's see how it goes. On we go. There we go. And that is our hat. I think it's actually come out very slightly larger than that one. I find that, I don't know about you, if you ever made a blanket and you make lots of squares and your first square is really tight, and then as you get relaxed into it, the squares actually get looser. It's very strange, but no, that's about a nice fit. Now, as I say, you could have it as a beanie so it can just pull round. These points, I like them because I will actually deliberately pull the points out, and then sort of it gives sort of, I don't know what it gives. It sort of gives a different sort of shaping, which I sort of quite like. I like the fact that it's sort of really sort of pointed on there. But you can sort of pull it down a little bit further. I'm going to grab that other hat now. So 2 seconds. The basket is only next to me. I hope it's in here. There it is. I have got it. And I was a little confused as, now this is a 4-ply yarn. And when you put it next to this 4-ply yarn, you go, yeah, there's not much between them. But there is, just very slightly. The pink is very, very flat. If you let it relax, you can sort of see it different. Very, very slightly bigger. So I'll then put them on top of each other. They're not far off, actually. There's that very tiny difference, and the stitches look a little bit bigger, if you know what I mean, so it doesn't look quite as fine, but it is still a 4-ply. Still got, I didn't have a stitch marker when I did it, that's why I've got that, and it still does sort of fit quite nice. It's just sort of, in fact, you know, I might keep that one for me because it looks quite nice with a dress, doesn't it? So I wasn't sure whether to put it with the others because, you know, I like them to be consistent if I'm doing it. I think she's keeping that one. I think that looks quite cool because I've actually done her a scarf as well with it. Not that she needs a scarf with the dress she's got on, but I think that might be kept for our Mabel there. But I just wanted to show you that there can be a difference. Again, first one I did, I mean, there's quite a difference there, but we are actually on the same one, but we've got a bit of a stretch. It is wool, so we can stretch it about. So I hope you enjoyed doing that. I hope you're going to make some. Let me know if you do. As I say, click on the link if you want the matching bag. And that's about it then for today. Thank you so much for watching. Mabel's really pleased with what she's got. Mabel feels like she's got some grass in her hair. She has. I took her out for some photographs and she's got some bits in her hair. I need to brush it through again. That's the only thing. I love long hair, like I love my long hair, but it's a nightmare to keep tidy when it's windy. So thank you so much for that. We'll pop Mabel's bag and hat there. If you do enjoy the videos, please like, subscribe and share. I'm going for now, and I'll see you all very soon with another video. So bye bye for now.